Qualitanesi, qualitonali, the good day to each and all. Today, according to the calendar of Rome, the Roman calendar adapted by Julius Caesar and then called the Julian calendar, and then further adapted by Pope Gregory. According to the Gregorian calendar today, this is known as the day October the 12th, 1492. 1492, from a 0 point on that calendar that was arbitrarily determined and established according to the cosmology of Christendom, the so-called Western world, they call it, but west of where? If you looked at that idea, if you looked at that history, if you looked at that time from here, they didn't get here from the west. The west is over there. They got here from the east, which is that way. Today, this morning, we're standing here at the site which was established in 1851 of that same calendar. This site here was established in consequence of a war that took place at that time. 1845, 1848, it ended over 100 years ago. 150 years, 160 years, the war that the U.S., the United States of America, waged against Mexico, the Republic of Mexico, to claim the territory from coast to coast under the concept and the ideology of white supremacy known as manifest destiny. All of this, what you see here, that's the O'odham territories. That part there is still today known as the reservation of Gila River. And behind me right there you see the Phoenix International Raceway. And there you see what is left of the Gila River as it still tries to make its destination to the Colorado River and on into the Gulf to join the sea in Mexico. Today we're standing here today, once again, having reestablished a point of reference in terms of our calendar and also in terms of our ties ancestral with Mother Earth. As you can see behind me in this valley, that goes south, it goes southeast, and through this valley, from this valley, and along these rivers, which connected the cultures of what is known as this territory of the O'odham, Jevet. Ancestrally, this was always a route, a path of communication, of culture, of confederacy. The water birds that would fly up and down these waterways are still considered very sacred by our people. In our language, it's called the Astat. And many times when the designations are given about our origins, that bird is invoked, that spirit is invoked, that symbol is invoked of the Astat, the Istak Astat, the white heron. And for that reason, sometimes you hear that word, that name is used to identify who we are as the people of the confederacies of peace of Mother Earth. And we know that this area here, the sacred land of the O'odham, the sacred mountain of the O'odham that you can see behind us, or all around us, this is still the O'odham land and sacred. It's still, even though they put this raceway there, many people come there to chase their cars around in a circle, paying a lot of money, getting drunk, all of that, popcorn, hot dogs, the American way, they call it. But where are they going? Well, we know they came from that direction. We know that they are the immigrants here. They barely come over, the ocean. They had to go all the way to the Canary Islands to find the winds to bring their boats over here. They went to Africa, in other words, first, before they came here to colonize. That's what they came here to do. That's what they are still doing. And it's not meant to be offensive, but we do need to clarify. It's a mistake, and it's a crime. It's a mistake and an error and a travesty to the human spirit to colonize another people to terrorize their generations, to bring genocide upon them and terroricide upon the earth. And so today we are standing once again at this point of reference to reaffirm, to redefine, and to regenerate in rebellion, resistance, and regeneration our sacred ties to the Mother Earth beyond the colonizing constraints of geographies of the colonizing system. This monument that you see here was established in 1851 to provide the baseline marker, the waypoint, by the U.S. Geological Survey for all of the property systems that were going to emerge after the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo with Mexico in 1848. This is it right here. They started from right here. From here they made lines east and west. That's why it's called baseline. They made lines north and south. And from here, each and every deed of private property under the domain of the U.S. real estate system has this point of reference, this particular monument and marker, as an official point of legal status before and within the U.S. system of real estate. The significance of this today, October the 12th, 1492, Gregorian calendar. Today we are once again, as we've been doing all along, each and every day and night, every generation for the last 525 years, simply reasserting the reality of who we are. As the Nicantracas and Manahuac, the regional nations of indigenous peoples of Mother Earth, of this continent, not America, this continent, Abya Yala, the Great Turtle Island. And today now, beyond just simply taking the statues down, beyond simply bringing defacement to those images of cruelty, of dehumanization, of genocide, of colonization, which are all illegal. Besides all of that, what is also called for in a more profound level is to regenerate and transform the way of thinking that produced that kind of an ideology. In other words, the cognition of colonization has to be addressed. We have been doing that all along as indigenous nations, the original nations of the territory. But the time is now. Time is now for the systems of the colonizers, specifically the educational systems of the colonizers, to address this issue. How? Very specifically, we have a demand. Surrounding this territory, emanating from this point of reference, most people would call this the state of Arizona. We don't. To us, this is still Otham Jebe. A lot of people say they took the land. They took the land. Where did they take it? It's right there. It's still there. What they did was they took away our ability to conceptualize, using our own powers of cognition, the reality of the simple fact that as we were then, we still are now, and will continue to be into the future. The original nations of the great continent of the Turtle Island, the Great Turtle Island, Abya Yala. And it is she who's telling us now, with mandate to the future generations, from the future generations, to take this stand, to clarify, and to emerge with this clarity and this self-determination to regenerate our projections of reality in terms of our relationship to the society at large, with each other as the original nations of Abya Yala, and into the global communities and beyond, into the star nations. For this reason, the action today, on October the 12th, 1492, is a step in that direction to have the state of Arizona implement in each and every one of the educational entities and institutions of the state of Arizona the mandate to bring forward the study on the impact of the Doctrine of Discovery that was conducted by the United Nations and presented in 2010 by the Special Rapporteur, Tanya Ganella-Fisher. We are calling for that study to be inserted into the social studies curriculum without exception at all levels. And we are further issuing this call from here at this sacred time, in this sacred moment for us now, as we regenerate our own systems of geo-spatial knowledge, cognition, and geography, the Itilmaloyan Abya Yala, Itilmaloyan Abya Yala, that this call would also be echoed among the educational institutions of each and every one of the other 50 states, and also, especially now, including the Associated Free State of Puerto Rico. Why? 1898. After they took this part of the continent, they presumed to take this part of the continent, the control from the government of Mexico. 50 years later, in 1898, by power of imperialism only, they took control of the island of Puerto Rico from Spain with the same category and the same criteria, that it was only going to be the European American descendants who were going to be given the political rights of representation and political representation in what was known as the colony of Puerto Rico. Now it's an associated free state, supposedly within the international legal system. But we know that the memory, the bones and the blood of our ancestors, of the people of the island known as Puerto Rico, the Boricua, they're still there, just like we're still here. So we issue this call to them as well, as you go about the reconstruction of the island, of your homeland, that you also reconstruct the historical memory that precedes the arrival of Spain, precedes the transfer from Spain to the United States, and reemerge as we are doing here now on October the 12th, 1492, in the spirit of self-determination, as we regenerate our original nationhood from the original foundations of our sacred ties with Father Sky and Mother Earth. Itilmaloyan Abya Yala, Nekaneno Toka Tupac Enrique Acosta, Yautashka, Tatoka Nawakali, Samanawak Abya Yala, Ayu.
There were stars before the sky was turned black by smoke and war guns of alien armies who came to put flame to the land, searing scars of colonization, genocide, racism, and greed. The echoes still roar. Hollowed-eyed sockets of false reality still see those rockets, still stare into the gory red glare of scorched earth burnt bare, burned to a stump, a corporate orange Kool-Aid trumped up version of white man's burning, claiming the throne of empire, gaming the land lust desire, marketing the electorate, commodifying the constituencies of white supremacy and modern day manifest destiny, against whom they stood. They stood in resistance, they stood in rebellion, they stand in regeneration. They, who are we, indigenous peoples, understood. The stars will return in the sky.